When you run for president of the United States, any question is fair game, he writes, so let the people decide. He was saying this to the Des Moines Register, I'm told, but it comes on the heels of the likes of Rand Paul and Donald Trump and others saying no one is doubting he is an American citizen, that he was born to a mother who was in Canada at the time, but she an American citizen. So by bequeathing, he becomes an American citizen himself. Where the gobbledygook starts and the legal back and forth starts, does that make you a natural-born citizen? All this might just seem like craziness to you and the back and forth over this, but Gina Loudon is watching it very, very closely. Gina, if it's just adding one more element of doubt to Senator Cruz, maybe that's what some of his opponents want to see, that there's a question mark to him. And do you want to risk your vote on a question mark, right?
I mean, there are question marks to every single candidate across the board. I mean, I think if we were to sit here, Neil, and just come up with questions about each candidate, we could come up with them. We're not going to find the perfect person. And I think that the senator's response was a very mature response, and I think probably something that is going to appeal especially to his base, saying, you know what, hey, every question is fair game. This is the highest office in the nation, and excellence is expected. But I think there's a difference, and I think in his statement he sort of coined this, there's a difference between excellence and perfection.
But do
and
you
I think
think
that's
that
what
it's
he's getting
fair
at.
game? I mean, to your point, I mean, none of this was an issue, and a lot of people knew about it, and the distinction that was made. After all, Senator McCain was born in the Panama Canal Zone. He was a military brat, so the issue was not germane. He argued that that was a U.S. military installation, for want of a better term, so it was not germane. But yet Senator McCain is among those saying, sure, this is fair game to question. There does seem to be a pile-on here, and I'm wondering if it was reflected in this recent Quinnipiac poll that came out just a few minutes ago that showed now Donald Trump out front in Iowa. Close race, but what do you make of it?
Yeah, well, I think you can expect this from the establishment, and I think we all wish that, you know, his decorated status as a veteran, that Senator McCain were less establishment, but he is one of those who's been around Washington, D.C. a long time, and I wouldn't expect his position to be any different on someone like Senator Cruz, who has repeatedly taken on the establishment and made them quite angry. So I'm not surprised at all that the establishment is sort of jumping on board with trying to pile on Senator Cruz. Their jobs and all the jobs around them, their friends who are the lobbyists, and so on and so forth, they all want anyone but a Cruz or a Trump presidency, and that's why the base in the Republican Party, the grassroots, has coalesced around these two candidates. That's why you're seeing them at the top in both of the first two primary states. Well, the fact that Donald Trump is the one leading that charge or raising it as a question, I think what they all want to do to a man, I don't know if Carly Fiorina, a woman, was doing it, is just to provide an element of doubt that if it's a close call for you when you're voting in Iowa, New Hampshire, of all these candidates, well, you might like Cruz, but there's this possibility. It's kind of like a sneaky way to split the difference, right? Yeah, but I don't know that voters are going to be intimidated by the thought that someone might question Senator Cruz were he the nominee. I think that the kind of voters that are supporting Senator Cruz and Donald Trump are the kind of voters that are dug in. It's anybody but an establishment candidate. So they picked their two favorites, or maybe their three favorites, because I think you got to figure in some of them are still with Huckabee, some of them perhaps with Rick Santorum. But the anti-establishment people, the anti-establishment mindset, Neil, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to shift over to a Bush or a Rubio. And it's time the establishment just woke up to that little fact.
All right, we'll watch very, very closely. But it is weird, and it is beginning. The pile-on certainly is palpable here. All right, thanks, kiddo. I appreciate it.